Well, SoFi is the latest high-profile Silicon Valley company to face accusations of an unrestrained workplace culture. The fintech startup was last valued at $4.3 billion in its last financing round in February. Earlier this month, CEO Mike Cagney stepped down amid sexual harassment accusations. And Thursday, a former loan reviewer at SoFi filed a new lawsuit claiming she was repeatedly sexually harassed while working there. This is one of at least 3 lawsuits filed in recent months against SoFi. Bloomberg News reached out to SoFi for comment, and a spokesperson said, "We take any allegations of sexual harassment seriously. While we can't comment on the specific allegations in this lawsuit, harassment of any kind has no place at SoFi. The board and management of SoFi are committed to creating a culture where employees can thrive." Earlier, our Bloomberg News reporter Selina Wang spoke to the former SoFi employee Yulia Zamora, along with employment lawyer Robert Ottinger. She started by asking Zamora why she decided to come out with this story now.
The main reason really is that people are listening now. If I had come through with any information earlier, no way, no one would ever listen to me.
And Robert, you represented Brandon Charles. He was the original person to file a lawsuit against the company, claiming that he was fired for reporting sexual harassment. So how many women at SoFi have come to you since? What are they telling you?
We have several people talking to SoFi employees who are calling us. I'd estimate between maybe 30 and 50 people have contacted us. And a lot of people are just airing their experiences at SoFi. A lot of them feel like they were abused and treated unfairly, and they just want to tell us what happened.
And I'm sure in the recent months, given the events, that Yulia's case is not the first to have come across the desk. So why did you choose to represent her in particular?
This case is really unusual because we had sexual harassment that was, in our view, baked into the culture of a company from the very top down. You don't see that so often, because people were coming to us right away, and they weren't talking about low-level managers sexually harassing. They were talking about people at the very top of the company. And then in our view, it seemed to be trickling down through the company, because there's an old saying, like, it's like a fish stinks from the head. It's an old saying, but I think that happens in companies. If the leaders of a company don't respect women, then the people under them also probably won't respect women like they should.
If we examine some of these high-profile cases from Uber, Zenefits, and SoFi, how much of tech's culture problem do you think is due to this alleged grow-at-all-costs culture in Silicon Valley?
I think that's a big reason why Yulia had the experience she had. You had a company that was growing so fast, and she was in a location out there in Sonoma County, and they just wanted to grow, make it more efficient, and they weren't paying attention to the rights of people like Yulia. How people feel there isn't the most important thing. It's all about growth and efficiency.
And is this something that you would say is prevalent across Silicon Valley? I named some few singular high-profile cases.
Yes. Well, we think it happened in Uber. There's been a lot written on that. It certainly happened in SoFi, in our opinion. And if you just look at have these venture capital firms that are making these big investments in these companies, and they want to get a return on their investment. And you do that by growing and becoming more efficient. And sadly, one of the consequences is that people's rights get walked upon. Yulia was walked upon, and she suffered in silence, and now here's one person who's bravely coming forward and sharing her experience. And I suspect there's thousands of other women out there in tech companies today who are experiencing what Yulia experienced. And it's our hope that Yulia's courage out here is going to inspire others to come forward, and hopefully these tech companies will be better places to work because of people like Yulia.
And in particular, you have an interesting background. You spent time in New York as an employment lawyer, as well as in San Francisco, particularly also representing people who had worked on Wall Street more than a decade ago.
Yes.
Are you seeing comparisons between what had happened on Wall Street, culture-wise, and what's now happening in Silicon Valley at financial technology companies in particular?
Absolutely. There's parallels for sure, because you see both Wall Street and some of these tech firms, especially fintech, are male-dominated. And you have that same go-get 'em attitude, really a macho culture there. It might be fun and great and rewarding for the men, but sadly a lot of women get left behind and stepped on.
And you were at the company for about a year. At what point did you decide to resign, and what have you been doing since?
I know that from the beginning I wanted to resign. I even tried going back to my former employer, and that just wasn't something that happened. My breaking point really was when all the stress was getting to be too much. My hair was falling out, hives, stomach aches constantly. So for me, it wasn't worth it at that point, and I started looking elsewhere. And thankfully, I moved on to better things.